Adam Schefter broke some news on NFL Live yesterday that was, I believe, shocking.
Yeah.
Kind of came out of nowhere. The entire clip in of itself is like a minute something on NFL Live, and Adam Schefter goes to break news. Then you see Swagoo pop on. Swagoo intrigued, you know, and then he was getting like kind of overheated for a little. And then Ryan Clark up for outstanding personality. Good luck out there.
Boy, RC.
Good luck out there, RC. He started talking about how big a news this was. And Laura Rutledge, who was the host of it, she even mentioned like, whoa, this changes everything in the moment. Great work by all of them. Because as it was coming out of Schefter's mouth, it is big news. I guess the world, maybe Houston, Schefter's an insider, so he's probably talking to people, not 100% sure they're taking a quarterback at 2. Whoa. We have assumed since the beginning of draft cycle conversation that it's going to be Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, 1 and 2. Houston's taking a quarterback, not sold on Dougie Mills. Obviously, new head coach, new regime, trying to build this thing in their own fashion. It's been a bad couple years down in Houston.
Oh, yeah.
It has not been great in Houston. Let's go ahead and turn the page, get our own quarterback. That's what we assumed happened. Then Schefter says that is not necessarily the case. They might not. So now you got to think that after what was given up by the Panthers to get the Bears' #1 overall pick, you would assume if everybody's viewing Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud in the same tier and then everybody else underneath it, every team that would want to be in the quarterback conversation would be trying to get to 2 right now. Let Carolina make the decision. Hey, if you want Bryce Young because he's a once-in-a-lifetime type player, they're saying he's incredible, the next Steph Curry, cool, you could take him. We're actually happy with that because the 5'10" thing, you're going to find out and not us. If you take C.J. Stroud, cool. We got the guy who's Steph Curry of football potentially, and we'll be the ones that will have to find out if the 5'10" thing is worthy of being a conversation 5-10 years down the road. Just like how the Chargers were whenever they were sitting right behind the Miami Dolphins. And they knew that the Dolphins were going to take a quarterback, and they knew they were going to take a quarterback. And once it got to the Dolphins, they said, whoever the Dolphins take, we are very happy with whoever is on the other side of it. If they were to take Justin Herbert instead of Tua, the Chargers would have took Tua. Instead, the Dolphins took Tua. The Chargers got Herbert. They're happy as hell with the entire decision. But that is how you have to prepare for the draft. So Houston saying this, is this all just smoke and mirrors? Is this them trying to drum up interest to hear what people would potentially offer for the #2 overall pick? Are they in a veteran free agent conversation, quarterback conversation that we don't really know about, like maybe Lamar Jackson? Is this something that D'Amico Ryans, who is obviously former player, knows a lot of players, has had a lot of success, obviously probably, I don't think I've ever heard a player not say they love Lamar Jackson. It's always like media, fans, every single player that's ever seen Lamar Jackson play football has pretty much gone, that's a fucking alien out there. That dude is one of one. Are they in that particular convo, or are they with Dougie Mills? This opens up a whole new bag of worms, I do believe, in the quarterback carousel that is the draft.
No show is higher on Dougie Mills than us, but I mean, it could be a situation where maybe they got wind of who Carolina's taken, and the second guy they just don't feel is worth the 2nd overall pick, so that they just would rather go somewhere else with that pick, and maybe they think, well, if we're not great this year, we can still get Drake May or Caleb Williams next year. Maybe they're higher on them.
That'd be tough to schedule out a year in advance in the NFL to get a good quarterback. Like I saw a lot of people talking about how good Caleb is and how good Drake is going to be. He's got Clyde Christensen down there with him, who's been a quarterback coach in the NFL for the last 35 years. He's now working with Drake May down at UNC. That's going to be a big deal going into the NFL, I'd assume, film-wise and everything like that. But you see a lot of people like, if your team doesn't have a franchise quarterback, next year might be the year to do that. It's like, okay, so this year we're just going to fucking suck. Like I don't think I fully understand that whole thing.
I don't know if this is a bluff or not, but we was talking earlier. Are they shopping it around to see if Baltimore willing to do it? Or are they willing to trade the pick and take Lamar? And I don't get it. I don't get it because they got to have a quarterback. They need a quarterback, a franchise quarterback. Not nobody that can just come in and play for a year.
Agreed.
Yeah, and Lamar, it feels like, especially after this Odell thing, like if a team wants to talk to Lamar, sure, and they can work out the deal, but then the Ravens will just do it. So it feels like Lamar's either franchise tag or he gets an extension because of the fact that some other team reached out and got the deal done.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how any of it's going to work. The Odell Beckham Jr. signing obviously makes us lead to believe that Lamar's going to be there for a year. You know, it sounds like maybe at least a year. So he's thinking about the franchise tag. But if another team comes in and says, hey, we'll pay you $200 million, like, and the Ravens won't do it, will that change everything? Yes. We'll have to wait for the draft for a lot of teams. Colts are one of them.
Mm-hmm.
What are we going to do at 4 now? Are we definitely going to move up to 3? It's going to be tough to move up to 2 in your own division.
Yes.
I don't know if Houston's going to let us get that spot. So I think we can get to 3 potentially, but everybody else is going to be trying to get to 2 right now. Fascinating little wrinkle of this whole draft.
And with Houston, the play caller's coming over from San Francisco, so I assume he just pictures Lamar running that offense. And
What's that?
it's a scary thing.
That could be. It could be fantastic to watch. What if Lamar Jackson goes to the Houston Texans?
I mean, that would suck for you.
That is, yes. What are you talking about?
For a long time.
Trevor Lawrence down there in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Then fucking Lamar Jackson in Houston.
Uh-huh.
And then what's Tennessee going to do? Tannehill. Dog.
Yep.
They
baby.
might move up to 3.
We got to pivot away from this conversation. We will certainly revisit it.
I think everyone thought it was going to be chalk quarterback, and Adam Schefter had a report this morning that I've been hearing as well, that Houston is not a lock to go quarterback number 2. And you might say, oh, that's BS. That's what they're just putting out there. They want to see and I shake everything up. Last year, up until about 48 hours before the draft, it was like Houston's going to go Sauce Gardner 3, or Houston's going to do this at 3. And they took Derek Stingley, a corner, before Sauce Gardner, the corner. And Stingley's been fine, and he's going to have a great career. But I don't think Nick Caserio, who comes from that New England Patriots background, is worried about mock drafts, and with his guaranteed contract is worried about what the public reaction might be. So if they don't fall in love with both quarterbacks, I could see Houston being a spot where a team wants to trade up, can trade up, or they just go a different direction. I think the Cardinals, plenty of reports saying that teams have been calling. I think they would love to trade back and collect more picks. Their roster is in desperate need of multiple players, not just the 3rd overall player. So to me, I think there could be a huge shakeup right up the top at 2 and 3, and I think that's where this thing starts.
Okay, so with all the conversations you've been having with GMs, and obviously we've seen you with damn near everybody, Combine Week, you were obviously at St. Elmo's with Andy Reid.
Yep.
We had boots on the ground in a couple different restaurants, saw you potentially speaking to, I don't know, Sean Payton, everybody else in there. You know everybody pretty much, it feels like. We're all kind of saying, okay, Bryce Young's going 1 to Carolina. C.J. Stroud's going to go 2 to Houston. Now, that's been changed, but maybe somebody will trade up in there to get C.J. Stroud. And then, like, at 3, 4, 5, Hendon Hooker's coming in. Like, we don't really see anybody. Is that the tiers that GMs have as well? Like, is Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud? Or do you get the sense that a lot of GMs feel that all of them are NFL quarterbacks and there might be more movement in the top 10 than we could imagine?
I think there's a clear 1 and 2, and it depends how you stack them. I know some teams have Stroud above Young, and others have Young above Stroud. And then there's a little bit of a gap as far as the certainty goes. And then you've got that Richardson-Levis as that next group, and then Hooker is probably that next group after that. So you've got those 5 names that you're hearing the most about. It's an interesting draft because everyone knows about Will Anderson. But there's going to be other guys. I think Wilson out of Texas Tech is going to jump up in this thing. I think Nolan Smith, the pass rusher out of Georgia, is not getting any love right now.
4-4.
And that's a guy.
4.38.
Yeah, and guess what? I'm told this guy might go as high as top 8, and I haven't seen him in any of the
He's an
mock drafts
engineer. He's a mathematician. He's a mathematician.
Smart dude. It was on a defense with a lot of talented guys who went early last year.
Hurt.
So there's those names. And then there's like guys that just teams fall in love with. I've got a team who told me, like, look, this Emmanuel Forbes, who I'm sure Pat can talk about, is a cornerback who is 160 pounds. But he is 160 pounds of pure dog. And he has pick sixes all over the place. And, like, that's not a name that you're hearing as far as, like, top 15. But if a team falls in love with that, they will take him top 15. It's one of those drafts where you could pick what you want, and there's not a chalk pick after the first couple. And I think it's going to be interesting because the wide receiver group isn't what it's been, and the offensive line isn't what it's been. So it's one of those deals. Pick the player that you like, and I think that's kind of a mess for some of these mock draft guys.
Yeah, I'd assume the mock draft people aren't exactly thrilled, and they've been making big changes every single week. We'll see Mitt's new one. He came in dead last last year when ranked all the mock draft people. You came in first, actually.
That's right. Yep.
So the thing that you put out that one mock draft, I do believe, a year maybe. I don't know what your normal plan is. You had the best one.
I'm going to do 2. Yeah, I do 2. So I do one that's going to come out this coming week, and it'll probably be posted on Tuesday on NFL.com. And then the day before the draft, I'll give you my latest information. What I always say is this, and thank you for giving me my flowers there. I've had other years where I come in dead last as well.
Mitt,
I try to
since Mitt's has started,
Yep.
Mitt has come in dead last. So you're okay.